All right, behind me we have our 97 Astro van. We're going to take it on a road trip, so we're going to do a couple things. We're going to do idler arms, we're going to do front brakes, we're going to do rear shocks, and we're going to do rear drum brakes. So we're going to do the whole system, and I'm going to kind of walk you through it step by step, show you how to do the entire system. It's probably be 3 videos. We might make it 3 or 4 videos just to split it up. But this will be my introduction for all the videos. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and this is a video you need to learn some stuff on. So, alright. Okay, once we got the wheel off, you've got 2 big Allen bolts here. This is the actual size. It's a 3/8, and it's kind of a square Allen. And what I do is I'll use that to break those loose. Pretty much all there is to getting these brakes off. The Astro vans are really simple that way, and that's all there really is to it. Now we're going to go ahead and pull this drum off, or the rotor, and replace that. Okay, we're just going to remove the old brake pads. Basically they just push out. We've got a little silicone on there. Just pull those forward. We're going to use this clip right here for our new ceramic brake pads. But what we need to do now is we need to collapse that piston. So the way you do it is just take your brake pad, you put it back in there. I use a C-clamp just because that's what I like the best. There's a lot of different ways to do this. They actually have tools that you can purchase to shove it back in there, but I like using this. I've used these for years and they work just fine. So you want to set this on here, tighten it down, and then from here you want to go take the cap off of the master cylinder so that it has somewhere for that oil to go back into the system. So now that we have actually released the cap off the master cylinder, we can go ahead and push the piston closed. Now this is just resting on the back side of the caliper here and on the inside here of the brake pad. So just half a turn, and I can hear it spilling out of the master cylinder, which is okay. We'll top it off at the end. But if you don't take that cap off, it has nowhere for that fluid to go, so it won't release. Some cars, some of the newer cars, have proportioning valves that don't allow the brake fluid to go back, but these older cars, it's not a problem. It doesn't affect anything. And you have to, because when you put the new pads on, you have a lot more clearance in the pad. You have a lot more pad, so you have to collapse this piston. If you don't, you won't be able to get it to fit on the rotor here. So, all right, let me show you what I did. Here's your piston, and if you look, you can see it's pretty flush between the caliper and the piston. It's pretty flush right there, and you need to do that. You need to push that piston back in there. There are all kinds of tools that mount here that push in the center. There's some rotors that you actually have to twist. But this particular style, you can just push back. Astro vans have been really good for, they're really friendly, really easy to work on. And so we'll go ahead and put the new pads in, put some silicone in, and clean this up. I'm just going to hit this with some brake cleaner and just clean up the rotor real nice so that we can put some grease on it and get it really nice and lubricated here. Now I'm just going to clean up this brake caliper. I just got some standard brake clean by O'Reilly. Just simple stuff, $2.50 a can. And what I want to do is clean up the riding tracks where these actually ride on the spindle. So I'll just kind of spray some cleaner in there, and then I'll hit it with a little wire brush. It's good to get it nice and clean so that you can actually put some little grease or lubricant in there. Just clean up all the debris and grime. Pretty self-explanatory, not too difficult. The brake cleaner evaporates real fast. So I just put a little container here to catch some of the debris so it doesn't hit the concrete. California, they got some weird laws. You can't let anything hit the concrete here. So anyway, basically just clean it up, and then we'll throw the new brake pads in here. I have my silicone here, and this is just a standard silicone. And basically it's the same stuff that you're buying from AutoZone or Checker or something like that. You're just not paying, you know, $7 for it. And it'll still work under pressure. I've used it before. And so basically you just want to put that silicone. This just kind of helps prevent the vibration and the squealing and the brake chatter. Then you just take your pad and snap it in. Very, very simple. Nice thing about the Astrovans, their brakes, at least the front end brakes, are really, really easy. The back, which we're going to be doing here in just a few minutes, a little bit more complicated, but for the most part, very easy to work on. So then we're just going to take that pad and set that in there, and then I'm just going to kind of let that sit for about 15-20 minutes to let the silicone sit up before I install it onto the rotor. What I'm going to show you how to do is I just set that on there. I set it on the rotor just while the glue was drying. So I've got just a little brush that I'll brush on some grease, and I'm just using wheel bearing grease. I've heard stories that to not use this because it builds up dirt and stuff, but I've always liked to use the grease. It just helps that caliper slide normal. And then I'll put a little grease right in here. That's right where the track is, where it rides. And then these little eyelets right here, these things have to be pushed all the way back. If you don't put those little eyelet bushings back, they'll get caught on this and you won't be able to put the caliper on without having issues. So I'll put a little grease in there too, just because the bolt slides through that. So just grease this up. So I always think it's a good idea. I've always done it. I've had several Astrovans throughout our career, and it's always just been a good thing to do. So then put the bottom in first, and then the top, and it should line up perfectly. And then your bolts just come through. Put a little grease on the bolts as they slide through. We'll clean up the bolts a little bit too. Put a little grease on there, and then tighten it down. And then just put some more brake fluid in the reservoir. Do the same thing with the other side, and that's pretty much how you do brakes on a 97 Astrovan. Alright, so in this video, 97 Astrovan, we basically showed you how to do front brakes, rotors, pads, grease the wheel bearings. Hopefully this video was educational for you. If you have any comments, or you'd like to see any types of other videos, any other mechanical stuff, I'd love to hear from you guys. I find that with our business, we're always having things that need attention, need maintenance. This is normal wear and tear. It would happen on any vehicle, new or used. Just so happens we're taking a road trip, so we need to make sure that we get all this stuff situated. So appreciate your input, and look forward to you on the next video. Bye.